Welcome to episode 70 of Oscar Sunday. I'm Austin Johnson.
I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
And today we have our ninth ever Best Picture Showdown. Pretty cool stuff. We've done a handful of these now and feel like it's our best stuff here on Oscar Sunday because we get to hone in on a ceremony and talk about the 5 movies or more, depending on what year it is, that were up for Best Picture. And of course, we're going to rank them later on in the show. We're also going to give awards out to a film. And this year is 1971. 50 years ago, Connor, 50 fucking years ago, these movies came out. And I'd say it's a really, really cool, strong year. Obviously, the late 60s, early 70s is when American cinema is changing for the better. And you have, a movie like French Connection, which is just an out and out thriller starring these, fucking Gene Hackman and Roy Schreider, these monstrous performers. And it becomes a genre that people want to copy forever. And I love this film. It's one that I've watched many times, and I'm super excited to talk about it. It beat The Last Picture Show, A Clockwork Orange, Fiddler on the Roof, and Nicholas and Alexandra. So we're going to rank those movies later, but I do want to get your general thoughts on French Connection, because I think this was just your second time watching it.
Yeah, this is my second time. The first time was when we did this as a bonus on the Filmgazm podcast for The Exorcist. William Friedkin double feature. And this is quite a ride. Yeah. This film is kind of a game changer. There hadn't really been a cop movie like this before that showed, kind of a gritty, shitty cop, like a racist asshole cop as the hero.
Yeah.
It works because Hackman's so goddamn committed.
Yep.
I mean, if you're going to be, the prick with a heart of gold, you got to sell that shit. And Hackman sold it. This is a great movie. Really exciting. Totally deserving of Best Picture, in my opinion. But it had some competition, which we'll get to that.
Yeah, for sure.
But definitely a movie everyone should see at least once. And actually, at least twice, I think. Twice gives you more of a, you get more out of it.
For sure.
But definitely one I was excited to do on this. And a great way to celebrate, a 50-year milestone of a year in film.
Yeah. 50th anniversary for French Connection and all these other films. Every film that's at the ceremony, pretty much. And that's always exciting to be able to do that. Last week we got to do Rango, which hit its 10-year anniversary this year. And we want to kind of do, before it's too late, before it's 2022, we want to do more films that are kind of hitting that milestone of some sort. And French Connection is, like, without a doubt, if you're to just take the Best Picture winners, it's just like, it's one of my favorites. It's right up there with One Flew Over and Moonlight and, Kern vs. Kramer, movies I just flat out adore. And Amadeus, 12 Years a Slave, ones that I think are true masterpieces. And French Connection, while it does have very strong competition, I think it's, when you think about 1971, this is the film you think about because of what it changed for New York movies. We recently talked about Taxi Driver, and I think, French Connection is like Taxi Driver in the way that it shows New York City. It shows Brooklyn, it shows Marseille. It's really, really cool. The settings that this film takes you to, whether it be in the car with Popeye and Cloudy, or if you're or if they're on foot, or you could be in Marseille looking at this, beautiful scenery. It's really cool, the places it takes you inside of an hour and 45 minutes. I think that French Connection the worst thing it could have done for itself is be 2 hours plus. That fast-paced last 30 to 45 minutes is just absolute gold. And I think that's the best thing it has going for it moving forward. As it moves past 50 years old and keeps going, I think it's still worth your time because it never really is dull. I think the setup in the first, 30 minutes or so is worth it because you really get to know, all right, this is a big fucking deal, and this cop, Popeye, is a total dirtbag. And you learn that at one point he had an incident where he had a hunch about something and another cop got killed. And so you really get to know him, his character, through these like simple bits of dialogue between him and other policemen. And that stuff is genius. As you watch it more and more, you're like, oh my God, Popeye, you're terrible, but you can't help but cheer for him as he's trying to take down these monstrous French drug dealers. So a lot of fun. I'm super excited to talk about it today. I want to jump right into the individuals who are involved with the film. Of course, by default, we'll talk about the French Connection more with those. And then we're going to go through the 44th Academy Awards, just kind of look at some stuff, talk about other films that are outside of the Best Picture group. Like my personal favorite is Clute, starring Jane Fonda, and her Oscar win, first nomination and first win. She's just fantastic. Actually, it might be her second nomination. I'm not sure, but I know it's her first win, and she's electric in that movie, and definitely want to talk about some other stuff. So, and then we'll do our ranking of the 5 Best Picture nominees, and then we'll do our awards. So let's jump right into Mr. William Friedkin, absolute dynamite director, who's got a decent little resume here. You know, when you look at these movies, you point out The Exorcist earlier, how with Filmgazm, you know, this is way back now, we were doing bonuses that were attached to the Filmgazm main episode. So The Exorcist, 1973, an absolute must see for everybody. We wanted to kind of take that and run with it, and also do French Connection, because that is the ultimate double feature, right? It's like New York on steroids. these movies just really hit you hard, and they're so different in what they're trying to get across and the style that they have. So he won Best Director for French Connection, was nominated for The Exorcist. A lot of other really cool movies, though. I mean, it's kind of amazing that this is it for him. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, because he does have some monstrous films under his belt. And I wanted to, you know, open the floor and let you talk about any other ones you've seen, or if there's any other ones that you think should be here.
Regrettably, outside of French Connection, The Exorcist, I really have not explored William Friedkin. But I know my uncle, if you listen to the Filmgazm podcast, you might remember Sean Bridges, who was a guest on our awesome Escape from New York episode.
Yes.
To Live and Die in LA is one of his favorite movies of all time. And I've always wanted to see Bug.
Yeah.
I've heard that is an unsettling movie. And
for sure.
Yeah, I actually recently, a couple days ago, just finished reading The Exorcist for the first time.
How about that?
I was really surprised at how identical it was to the movie. Like, William Peter Blatty just adapted his novel, and Friedkin didn't cut anything. Like, he didn't, you know, try to shape it. He knew how important that story was, the way it was told. And I love that. I love that he didn't try to, you know, screw with it. I mean, that's, you know, that just made me appreciate the film even more.
Yeah. I think that's massive as you get older and you consume all this stuff, and you learn that about something. You learn that you do the work for yourself, and you learn that it just makes the film that much stronger.
Yeah.
And that much scarier, quite frankly.
Oh yeah.
God, what, you know, The Exorcist, I could go on and on about. I think it, you know, it has a place, rightfully has a place in kind of this pantheon of horror films. And I find it to be just uber entertaining. And it has probably my favorite horror scene of all time, is when the mother and the doctor are talking, and they basically break down what the genre means to me. And they start talking about, if you believe it, it is true, you know, and it's a very serious scene. And I love that, because that's kind of where my head's at with a lot of the stuff we watch and the stuff we do on Filmgazm and horror movies in general. Just people that want to kind of shit on them. It's like, no. Like, there's a lot of exorcists out there that are just ready to just floor you and ready to kind of take your mind to just totally new heights. And I think putting those walls down and kind of letting that suck you in is the coolest thing about horror. You would love Sorcerer. Oh my God. Sorcerer of William Friedkin. That is a fantastic movie. Also starring Roy Schreider. He's amazing in that movie. That's one that I think you'd like. And then also I love Cruising from 1980. That's a cool movie. Of course, Al Pacino, the man himself, coming off an incredible 70s run, maybe the best of the decade. And I think those two are the ones that kind of stand out. And I wish William Friedkin got more praise for those. But that's where we come in and on Oscar Sundays, we kind of spotlight that stuff because sure, The Exorcist and French Connection are great, maybe his two best movies, maybe, but there's always more stuff. One of my favorite basketball movies of all time is Blue Chips. Stars fucking Shaquille O'Neal and Nick Nolte and Penny Hardaway, Bob Cousy, some basketball legends, and then Nick Nolte at the forefront. And that's a really cool movie. Very gritty, shows a different side of college basketball, and I think it's a cool one to watch. Where you're like, oh, this is William Friedkin. What the fuck? He has that about him. He has that way about him, where he's doing all these different kinds of stories, and you just kind of realize that you're watching an amazing filmmaker.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I love that you can spot, like, you can tell me about these super unknown underground, like, action thriller cop movies he did in the 70s that I can then throw into the book, and we end up doing that shit on Filmgazm. So it all kind of, it's like a snake eating itself, this whole thing. It's just constantly going. It's great.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love the snake. Next up is the writer of French Connection, Ernest Tidyman. This is the only stuff he has when it comes to the Oscars. I mean, good heavens, some of the stuff that's said in this movie is like so abrupt and so appalling, but it's just made the movie last to me. It's another one of those things, along with the cinematographer. We're going to talk about him soon. William Friedkin and Ernest Tidyman, that combination of them two just attacking this story is so important to why it's lasted, just like The Exorcist. So Ernest won for the French Connection, best adapted screenplay, but there's nothing else there for the Oscars. You look at his you look at his other films, and you see some cool stuff. I mean, it's not amazing. There's probably stuff I need to see that I haven't seen, but movies I've definitely heard of, and definitely has an attachment to Shaft because he wrote that film, then wrote there was that TV series in the early 70s as well. He also helped write, that's his baby. That's his novel. So it's like, I think Shaft is a really cool thing that's kind of lasted. There was another movie with Samuel Jackson back like 2 years ago. So it's still around.
Guy wrote Shaft. First off, I didn't know Shaft was based on a novel.
Hell yeah.
So that's really cool. I also see that he wrote High Plains Drifter.
There you go.
I've seen that film. I'm not a fan, admittedly, but I think it's time. It's been a good long while since I watched that movie. And it's very much a, Clint Eastwood as the anti-hero kind of, cowboy. I mean, first thing he does, he walks into town, he fucking rapes a woman. That's the first. Yeah. And this is the guy you're supposed to root for. And I just thought, like, what the fuck? Why am I rooting for this guy? And that was my like sophomore year of college. So I think it's time to revisit High Plains Drifter. I mean, everyone, it's critically acclaimed, so maybe I'm the problem. But
I always think that, I always am like, wait, I didn't love this. What's wrong with me? Yeah.
Every time when there's, it's certified fresh, it's got Oscar nominations out the ass. I'm always the guy. If I don't like it, I'm always like, it's a me problem. I'm the odd man out here. So what's wrong? What do I have to watch to make this better?
Yeah. Yes. And sometimes it just takes knowing about the people behind it. Like clearly Ernest Tidyman has a fascination with pieces of shit characters. Yeah. And maybe knowing that, and you watch it again, you're like, okay, I get it. He doesn't want to deal with any real heroes. He wants them to be totally jaded. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll watch, I've seen The French Connection now. I watch Shaft. I watch maybe Pale Rider or Hang 'em High. Then I go back to High Plains Drifter.
There you go. And then you have a whole new kind of arsenal to watch the movie with. So yeah, I love that. William Friedkin and Ernest Tidyman. Awesome combo. They're a big part of why we're talking about this French Connection today. Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman is no slump when it comes to the Oscars as a performer. 5 total nominations, 2 wins. Bonnie and Clyde, 1967. He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. 1970, I Never Sang for My Father. He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Then he wins for French Connection, Best Lead Actor. He was nominated again for Best Lead Actor in 1988 for Mississippi Burning, and then he won again for Best Supporting Actor in Unforgiven, 1992, a movie we did not too long ago on a Best Picture Showdown. I want to say it was 2 showdowns ago. We did Best Years of Our Lives last time, and then is that right? Yeah,
that sounds right. Yeah,
crazy. I've done so many of these. I kind of sometimes I forget. But we started with 1979, Kramer vs. Kramer. That was our first ever proper showdown. Then after that, we did Moonlight, The Apartment, American Beauty was somewhere in there. Chariots of Fire is somewhere in there. Then I know for episode 50, we talked about the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And of course, Return of the King is a Best Picture winner. Then after that, I guess after that would have been Unforgiven. And then Best Years of Our Lives. And here we are. Yeah, I might be missing one, but I know we've done 9 of them and they're a lot of fun. Gene Hackman, Jesus Christ. I love this guy. Love this guy. My probably personal favorite performance of his is him as Royal Tenenbaum in the Royal Tenenbaums. Yep. Wes Anderson's 2001 masterpiece. Maybe, just maybe, his best movie alongside Grand Budapest Hotel. He's lights out in that movie. So much fun. And it's hard to believe that role and his role here as Popeye are 30 years apart. It's just kind of crazy. But this is the most exciting and most entertaining Hackman I think I've ever seen. Is him as Popeye. I mean, right from the get-go, he's dressed up as Santa Claus, and he starts chasing this, drug peddler. And and then when him and Cloudy, him and Roy Schreider are kind of have him up against the wall, this guy, the stuff he's saying, I mean, it gets you going right away. You're like, holy shit, I got to keep watching this kind of fucked up cop.
Yeah. Well, that Gene Hackman's great at playing pricks.
Yes.
He's there's very few actors who are as good at it as he is.
It's amazing.
To date, I think he's one of the best Lex Luthors that we've ever had in his roles. 100%. In the first 2 Supermans and then 4 for some reason. I guess the money must have been good. But yeah, you believe this guy believes that he's the smartest man on earth and could, I never liked his plan, like take out, what was it, Nuke California and then sell all the new beachfront property.
Yeah.
Okay. But he pulls it off.
He's a goddamn nightmare. I mean, him as Little Bill in Unforgiven is like, it's like a performance out of a museum or something. It's just astonishing what he's able to do in that with the time he's given. I mean, we're not going to have him for much longer, to be quite frank. He's 90 years old, or 91. Yeah, he was born in 1930. That's the guy's, he retired like 15 years ago and hung it up after Welcome to Mooseport. Weird one to go out on. And he's just a kind of an American treasure, I think. I think people should go back and watch his stuff whenever they can, and I'm sure most people are listening know his filmography very well.
Yeah, I don't know it well enough, frankly. Like I still have to watch the Royal Tenenbaums.
Well, he's got 100 acting credits, so it's just like, oh fuck, yeah, I got always gonna have work to do.
Yeah, for sure. Like I want to see the Poseidon Adventure, Mississippi Burning. There's still a lot of work I've got to do with him, but it's fun. You ever see The Birdcage?
Oh, I love The Birdcage. love The Birdcage.
One of my favorite Hackman performances, as just seeing him in drag was a nice moment.
Yeah. You forget sometimes that he's like an actor. He's like a proper, because he's so good. He's so committed to his kind of dirtbag characters that you just forget that you're like, oh, I thought this guy was just a prick. And it's like, no, he's like a trained, legit actor. Yeah.
If you didn't get enough of Hackman as a tyrannical Wild West crime baron, watch The Quick and the Dead, because he's pretty much the same character.
There you go. I love that. Good shout.
Yeah.
His co-star one of my favorite guys from the 70s, and he just got kind of lost. And I think we can pinpoint some stuff that happened, but it's always frustrating when someone shows so much talent in inside of a decade, and then it doesn't pan out the way you want it to. And that's Mr. Roy Scheider, who stars as Cloudy in French Connection. He was nominated for supporting actor for this movie, and he was also nominated for Best Actor 1979, All That Jazz, which All That Jazz was a part of our Kramer vs. Kramer show. I love All That Jazz. I love Roy Scheider's performance in that movie. I think it's crazy to me that that's the same guy from Jaws. Like, wait a minute. What the fuck is happening here? This just, complete like drug junkie who's chain smoking like a fiend. Joe Gideon, he's all over the place and is totally paranoid and talking about, I think I'm going to die, and that's what he's doing, All That Jazz. And then he's the guy who says, you're going to need a bigger boat. Like, what the fuck? It's really crazy to me when a guy can do that. Gene Hackman has that similar, I can do the big stuff. I can perform for everybody in the entire world, but I can also do really weird, wacky stuff because that's what they do. That's what they get paid to do. Roy Scheider, how is he not up for Jaws? I think he's so good in that movie. Him and Richard Dreyfuss are both awesome in that movie. I also just am, clearly biased to it. It's one of my favorite movies from the 70s, as I think it's for everybody. Well, maybe the most important American movie of all time. Changed summer movies forever, changed the calendar of movies forever, and changed the way people look at beaches, changed the way people look at vacation, and is a tentpole July 4th movie because of what's inside of it, because it is that damn good. So I love that Roy Scheider is a part of it.
Every time I watch Jaws, I always find myself thinking, this film has no business being as fucking lights out good as it is.
Like, every second.
This is a movie about a big ass shark terrorizing a beach. That's essentially, bare bones. That's what this is. But beneath that, it's a fantastic character study into obsession. It's a terrifying, creature feature. It's the movie that put Spielberg on the map. I fucking adore it. And yeah, I think Roy Scheider's fantastic in it. But to me, the performance of that movie is Robert Shaw.
Quint. Yeah.
Quint. I mean, fucking hell, man. Every time I watch it, I am mesmerized by that drunk, crazy fisherman son of a bitch.
Yeah. And his death is probably the most gruesome PG death, I would say, that I've seen.
I could say that, yeah.
Like by a landslide. I think second place would be some of the death that happens in Rango. I just am blown away by those three guys, Roy, Robert, Richard. They're just fucking bonkers in that movie. Too good. Like you said, that movie has no business being just an absolute 10 out of 10, 100 out of 100, 5-star movie, like across the board.
One of my all-time favorites. It's Quint's death is my earliest I think one of my earliest movie memories. I was like 4 or 5 years old. My mom was watching it, and I woke up in the middle of the night to see Quint get eaten by the shark. And I remember I wasn't scared. I was more like, that's interesting. And my mom woke up and turned it off and was like, why are you watching that? You shouldn't be watching that. And I'm like, it's PG though. That's got the same rating as my Disney movies. So why can't I watch this?
Yeah.
But
Lion King, Jaws, come on.
It's actually I think the reason Roy Scheider never really took off the way he should have is because of Jaws 2. He was forced to make that movie by Universal after he backed out of another project, and I think he got billed as unreliable or difficult or something, and that fucked his career. I think that's what happened.
Apparently he was not fun on set. Apparently in most of his movies, yeah.
Well, that's the 70s for you. Most of them weren't.
Yeah, it's just a crazy era. Full of amazing movies and amazing talent. And Roy Scheider, you can kind of put in a capsule, like he belongs in the 70s. And even if you don't know the name, when you see the face, you're like, oh yeah, everybody knows him. Yeah, everybody knows him. Everybody knows him from Jaws. That's just how it is. I think maybe I've kind of held my tongue on this. I think, William Friedkin and Ernest Tidyman are a big part of why French Connection is what it is. But I think the biggest reason French Connection is what it is and has stood the test of time is Owen Roizman, the cinematographer. Good fucking Lord. He's a big reason why it only cost $2 million to make. He's a big reason why it just destroyed the box office, won 5 Oscars, was nominated for 8 because of his imprint on this movie. And you look at his Oscar resume and you're like, oh, fuck. I mean, just crazy. French Connection, nominated for Best Cinematography. The Exorcist, nominated for Best Cinematography. Network, nominated for Best Cinematography. Tootsie, nominated for Best Cinematography. And Wyatt Earp, nominated for Best Cinematography. He won an honorary award in 2018 because they never gave him a win when he was actually working. So they said, oh, fuck, we messed up. We realize how important you are, especially with your 70s run. Are bad. So here you go. Here's a little thing you can hold. He's still with us, this guy, and I'm kind of ashamed I didn't know more about him until I was doing research for this episode. French Connection, that there's certain scenes where it quite frankly is a handheld camera, and what movie is doing that that's trying to be this big Oscar contender, big box office, dynamite movie? It's so raw. So raw. And then when it needs to scope out and be big, it's big and it's beautiful. And it's just some jaw-dropping stuff when you're looking at New York. And then there's those famous kind of, the famous little zoom ins where you're looking at a big old street, and then you're all of a sudden, 30 seconds later, without you really noticing, you're on Fernando Reyes' face or you're on Gene Hackman's face. And it's just perfect. And then there's obviously famous scenes later in the movie where it's like, who the fuck can film this? This stuff that's really going on, the stunts that are really happening. It's really, really cool. Hats off to him. I mean, to do French Connection, Exorcist, and Network all in the same decade is something special.
We don't often see, honorary awards at the Oscars go to cinematographers. It's usually the actors or directors or screenwriters. Yeah. Rarely do they really honor these guys. And I'm glad they did, because what a fucking run. My God. 3 films where the cinematography not only stands out, but is crucial to the performance of the film. And this guy had an eye. Or has an eye. I mean, wow.
Yeah, he also is the cinematographer for 3 Days of the Condor, another amazing paranoia type movie from the 70s, starring Robert Redford and Faye Dunaway. Just awesome, fantastic movie. Highly suggest that one. And The Taking of Pelham 123, which is just like this jaw-dropping, out-and-out thriller like French Connection, where the whole time you're just like, what the fuck? How are they doing this? And if you care about how movies are made, you're wondering who is behind the camera, who is in charge of how the lighting and how it's looking and how it's kind of grainy, and other times it's really bright. I love this guy. I'm not forgetting this man's name. He's going to be one of those dudes that I'm going to watch his movies for his effort, for his craft. French Connection is just his second theatrical release as a cinematographer. His first one is Stop from 1970. Obviously need to see that one. I need to see the gang that couldn't shoot straight. There's movies here that I'm like, okay, I don't care what the reviews are. I want to watch them for Owen.
Stop is an unreleased X-rated drama.
Oh fuck yeah. Let's go. That's directed by Bill Gunn. Oh man, yeah. Gotta see that. Gotta find a way to that. That sounds like some kind of Filmgazm action. Yeah.
That sounds like something, I mean, if they haven't already, Criterion is going to get their hands on that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Oh, I love it, man. This is why we do this stuff, is looking at these people and what they mean to the history of cinema and how cool they are, how cool their craft is.
Oh, fuck yeah. Especially, I think in the 70s, we've often talked about how the 70s and the 60s really, but it began in the 60s, was perfected in the 70s, this kind of new regime of independent filmmakers and just, experimentation. And cinematography completely changed in the 20th century to really reflect kind of the, the dynamics and the intensity that film was finally embracing. And it's guys like this that were at the forefront of that shit. It's important to know their names.
Yeah. They're the guys who you called French Connection at the top of the show. You called it a game changer.
Yeah.
And the only way it changes the game is if you make those risky decisions and those risky choices. And having Owen Roizman as your cinematographer, you're going to get a like kind of distinct style and a distinct taste. And I love that. So last guy we're going to talk about here, a guy I looked up and I was like, what, where have I been? What's going on? He's the film editor of French Connection, won the Oscar. Gerald B. Greenberg, also nominated for Best Film Editing, Kramer vs. Kramer, 1979, and Apocalypse Now, 1979. What in the fucking hell?
Oh, that's beautiful. Wow. What a guy.
Yeah, that's kind of all you need are those three. But again, we like to look at other stuff. I think the 70s is, of course, a good place to look if you're trying to see other stuff he's done. He also is the editor of Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. They Might Be Giants, 1971. The Boys in the Band, 1970. Some movies I've just heard I have to see. Dress to Kill, 1980. Heaven's Gate, 1980. Scarface, 1983. Good God. Wise Guys, 1986. The Untouchables, 1987. The Accused, 1988. Get off. Like, you can't touch this guy.
Fucking Christmas Vacation, 1989. Awakenings.
Yeah. Like, I'm sure we must have talked about him on the Awakenings episode. I just don't recall totally. We do so many of these.
Yeah.
And that feels like so long ago. We must have brought him up. But I know that that guy Anton First kind of took over that segment of the episode because we learned so much about him, and he was, I believe, the production designer for Awakenings, was also the production designer for 1989 fucking Batman.
Yeah.
So I remember that part vividly of that show. I don't remember the individuals, because that kind of overshadowed it. But that's Gerald Greenberg is here to stay.
Yeah. What a rock star.
I keep going. Fucking American History X, just crazy movie. Invincible, 2006. What the hell? Marky Mark, really cool. Point Break, 2015. Yikes. maybe take that one off the resume there. This is a big part of our show, is highlighting these people. We only had 6 today, but all of them are kind of badasses in their own right.
Yeah, damn straight. These are the guys who build a movie.
Yeah, 100%. And again, those guys who were, Gene Hackman. It's, if you cast him in your movie, cool. It's gonna work. It's probably gonna work out for the most part. But those guys who aren't in front of the camera and aren't necessarily stars, those are the people you and I know we really like to learn about here on this show, because it's a good way to have context. You look at Friedkin, you look at their Oscar resume and you realize, okay, this isn't the end all be all, but this is our starting point, and it's always good to kind of have a ground floor. And that's always what it's going to be on this show, even if it's not their best, quote unquote, their best work. It's good to have kind of a ground floor, a place to start with. And that's always going to be their Oscar resume.
Well said.
Hell yeah. Let's talk some 44th Academy Awards, man. Let's make our way to our Best Picture rankings, but we're going to talk about the 8 categories that the French Connection is in, because that's what we do, man. We got some stuff to say about all these categories. It's going to be a lot of fun because we did a lot of work by watching The Last Picture Show, both of us for the first time. Holy shit, what a movie. By doing that, we see a lot of other nominations. You witness a lot of other stuff. Rewatching A Clockwork Orange, you get other stuff. Watching Fiddler on the Roof, you get a lot of other stuff. And watching Nicholas and Alexandra, you get a lot of other stuff. So we have a lot to say within these categories. So where do you want to begin? Do you want to do the 3 non-wins?
Yeah, I think that'd be good.
And then okay. So let's see here. What should we start with? Let's go Best Sound, our favorite category. Take it away, man.
Best Sound. I know I bitch about this like every other episode, but it bothers me.
It's stupid. Yeah.
So vague. So we've got Diamonds Are Forever. Always great to see a Bond film get some Oscar love. The French Connection, Koch, Mary Queen of Scots, and the winner, Fiddler on the Roof. When it comes to best sound, you're not beating a musical. Them's the breaks. So I get Fiddler on the Roof taking this one. Yeah,
me too. I totally agree with you, especially during this era. By doing this show, we've watched our fair share of musicals, and you kind of just realize that during the 60s, 70s, like they're just going to take these. They're going to take these, and then they're going to get other little nominations, but this is where they kind of get their gold.
Yep, and we're nearing the kind of end of the the super dramatic Hollywood 3.5 hour musical. Thank God. I mean, some of them are good, but I think I'm very happy Hello Dolly failed at the box office and kind of crumbled this whole genre.
Me too, man. I also just didn't like that movie, so it's kind of funny.
Oh boy. Best cinematography. We've got The French Connection by Owen Roizman, The Last Picture Show by Robert Surtees, Nicholas and Alexandra by Freddie Young, Summer of 42 by Robert Surtees again, and the winner, Fiddler on the Roof by Oswald Morris. I love that Robert Surtees got 2 nominations that year. Good for you.
Yeah, what a badass. Summer of 42. Oh boy. This is a movie I've definitely wanted to watch for some time. Directed by Robert Mulligan, written by Herman Rascher. I think this is a film I would like a lot. It's a coming of age movie. Obviously, there's a connection there with the Last Picture Show. So I'd love to finally see that one.
Yeah, definitely sounds up your alley. Cinematography there's some competition here.
Yeah.
Fiddler on the Roof surprised me. I thought I was going to be like just sitting there like staring at the wall for 3.5 hours, but I actually got really into that. Probably
yeah, me too.
I was watching it with my grandparents who fucking adore that movie, and they were just like dancing around, having fun, and I got into it because of them. But the cinematography in that film is quite gorgeous. I get why it won, but I personally would give this to The Last Picture Show.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. Last Picture Show. Oh boy. Well, we might as well open that can of worms. This movie, stunning, devastating, absolutely devastating, and a black and white movie that will rock you out of your fucking seat. It's like gorgeous isn't even a good enough word for how this movie's filmed and how it looks and how it presents itself and how fucking classic it feels. I've heard so much about Peter Bogdanovich. We probably sound stupid that this is our first time watching this movie. I don't care. You have to find him at some point. Yeah. And I've always put Bogdanovich to the side. I've always been like, okay, I'll get to it one day. I'll get to Paper Moon. I'll get there. I'll get to those movies. And finally I was like, okay, it's time to start the Peter Bogdanovich, ride. Because when we worked at Draft House, they would often have him doing a little bit before the movie start. And I was always like, man, I hate that I don't know his work. I hate that. I want to be the person who knows what's going on here. And I want to know what his weight is within the film community. And I finally feel like I'm opening that door. And what a way to start. This is you could call this a masterpiece. It's a breathtaking movie. My vote would go to French Connection for all the reasons I talked about Owen Roizman. Just a complete game changer and is doing stuff that just there's on you people that have like the physical capability to do what's happening in that movie with the camera, but Last Picture Show is certainly second place.
Sorry, that just made me laugh. How you sung Last Picture Show's praises, called it a masterpiece, and you're like, and I give it to the French Connection.
Yeah, well, the French Connection is a masterpiece. There's no way you can take that away in my mind. Last Picture Show is in Texas. I love Texas movies. I was born here and started, I'm doing a podcast here with you. I'm in San Antonio and you're like an hour away from me. So it's just, it's really cool that to see your state represented in a movie is always a treat. And when it's done really well, like The Last Picture Show, and has my man Jeff Bridges in it, just, yeah, it's a jaw-dropping stuff.
Yeah, definitely, man. I do like that. Texas is such a unique place that's there, kind of represents like the last real pocket of the Wild West. So to have films, take place here, it kind of changes the rules a little bit. Like The Last Picture Show, No Country for Old Men, they don't unfold the way you think they're going to unfold. And I think having them take place in Texas is a big part of that.
Yeah, totally agree.
Best Supporting Actor. We have Jeff Bridges for The Last Picture Show, Leonard Frey for Fiddler on the Roof, Richard Jekyll for Sometimes a Great Notion, Roy Scheider for The French Connection, and the winner, Ben Johnson for The Last Picture Show. No, I disagree. I don't think Ben Johnson really makes enough of a standout performance to win the Oscar in The Last Picture Show.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, if you compare, he's great. Sam the Lion. Oh, what a character. And there's a couple moments where you're like, okay, I see if you just watch those two clips, those two scenes. Yeah. But it's taking into account the whole movie. Roy Scheider is like a massive part of The French Connection. Massive. He sometimes takes over scenes, and you're like, you're watching him over Gene Hackman. And that to me is kind of like a sign. But I think Jeff Bridges takes this one.
As do I. Yep.
Dwayne fucking Jackson. Jesus Christ. If you were to show me this movie before, watching like Big Lebowski and all these movies I fall in love with that Bridges is in later on in his career, I just would have been like, oh yeah, it makes total sense that at a super young age in his 20s, he does this good of a job in this movie. God, Jeff Bridges, he pulls you around like a rag doll in The Last Picture Show. I was just shattered by him, and he's been nominated like 7 fucking times, and he's just a dynamite performer. And it kind of started right around here, so it's really cool.
You forget just how great of a chameleon he is. He never he's such a chill, pothead, nice dude that you forget that he's also, True Grit, Hell or High Water, fucking Tron, like The Contender. Like the dude is just a rock star every time. Starman. Like even when the movie's not great, he sells it. But The Last Picture Show, he is a dynamo. And I think it would have been so cool for his career to win an Oscar that young. And I think that he deserved it. I mean, there's times where he's fucking carrying that movie, where his performance is the anchor. And you just want to tell the guy, like, dude, you can do better. Like, fuck her. You can do so much better. Why?
Fucking JC. Damn it.
It's been a long time since I hated a movie character that much.
Yeah, I don't blame you. God damn. Infuriating. Oh, God. This movie just is so devastating. I love it. Yeah. I think we're in the same boat here. I think Leonard Frey, pretty good performance in Fiddler on the Roof. But yeah, I think Jeff Bridges is this is like an all-timer. This is a must-see. Even if you don't like the movie, if you don't care for Peter Bogdanovich, watch it for Dwayne Jackson, this character that will just floor you. And the massive moments in the movie really come when he's in play to me. And I think that's a big plus for this category, for the supporting actor category, when they just lift everything every scene that they're in, even if it's not the whole movie. I love them in this. I like that we're on the same page on that one. Really cool.
Yeah, definitely. Now we get to the wins. Best film editing.
Yes. We've
got The Andromeda Strain, A Clockwork Orange, Koch, Summer of 42, and the winner, The French Connection. The Andromeda Strain. I don't know if I have it in me to watch that yet.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. I'd go for it. It's a Robert Weiss story, and I would like to take that on at some point. Got an interesting cast, but yeah, it's definitely not going to be how do I say, easy one.
I don't really want to watch any movies about a plague. Just not feeling it.
No, it's not the best time. Yeah.
Yeah, French Connection totally deserves film editing. I think that
Yeah.
the way this
Yeah.
film's paced comes from the editing, and with the car chases and the foot chases, and it all works because it's edited so perfectly. So yeah,
the bit when I pointed out there's really cool times when you get to zoom in on Gene Hackman or Fernando Rey. How about when they're both like fucking around with each other on the subway and you get that nice little shot of him putting the umbrella in between the doors just to stop it right, boom. That stuff is pure gold. Yeah. the wave. Oh, the wave.
So French. Such a French wave.
Just iconic. I love how Gene Hackman kind of does it later. Yeah, so cool. So cool. I'm with you. I haven't seen 3 of these movies, but if it were a toss-up between Clockwork, which is we haven't really talked about that one yet. It's not the easiest movie to talk about, but I love it with all my heart as well. I think French Connection its technicality is on a different field.
Oh yeah, definitely. Best adapted screenplay.
All right.
We have A Clockwork Orange, The Conformist, The Garden of the Finzi Continis, The Last Picture Show, and the winner, The French Connection. Honestly, I think this should go to A Clockwork Orange. I think adapting that book was a pain in the ass, considering half 100%. Of it's not even in fucking English.
Yeah.
And the fact that Kubrick was able to make not only a coherent screenplay, but a devastating, unforgettable fucking movie out of it, props.
Yeah, I read that, or I tried to read it.
Yeah, me too.
When I was 19, I remember I was living overseas. I was living in Romania at the time, and I was consuming some books that I figured, I gotta read these. I hadn't seen the movie yet. I didn't see this movie till later on.
Wow.
When I did see it, though, I mean, after I read the book, I was like, okay, let me see if I can get some translation here. And I watched the movie. My older brother was a big fan of it, and he had it. I watched it, and I was just I couldn't believe. I felt like I had to keep a secret with A Clockwork Orange. I felt like I can't quite tell people why I love this movie so much. And I don't think people are going to accept it well that I love this movie so much, because it is pretty much as dark as it can get and has some material within it that people might not want to expose themselves to. There's some rough shit in this movie, and likewise in the novel. But I love it. I love it. I love it so much. I love every scene. I love every decision. I love the colors in this movie. I love the performances, and I especially love the screenplay. When Malcolm McDowell, says, "Oh, my brothers," it's just game over for me. I feel right at home.
From the first line, there was me, that is Alex, and my 3 droogs, that is Pete, Georgie, and Dim. And we sat in the Korova milk bar trying to make up our Rasadocs what to do with the evening.
Yeah.
You're hooked immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those just, and the way Kubrick is controlling what's happening and what you're looking at. That combined with what you just said, that cold opening, and the Korova milk bar is just where the hell are these dudes? They're supposed to all be teenagers. Why are you here? What? Well, wait, go home, play some fucking video games. Get out of here.
Yeah. Where the hell are we? Like, what dystopian future is this? There's so much to unpack with The Clockwork Orange. You got to watch it like 5 or 6 times to find all of it. And even then, you're still going to be pretty lost.
Yeah, I've seen it so many times since I watched it that first time, again, when I was 19 or so, 19 or 20. And within 5 or 6 years, it's one of those weird comfort food movies to me that some people would be like, "Oh, what's wrong with you?" But in my mind, it just makes sense. It's just one of those. I just like it. I laugh at it. I get freaked out. I am blown away by the direction, and by Malcolm McDowell is crazy good in it. Crazy good. And it's probably his best performance of his career. It's the one he's most remembered by. Playing Alex is a huge undertaking, and to do it at that age, he does it almost perfectly.
I can't believe the film wasn't up for production design. Frankly, I mean,
I know. Like every Kubrick movie is like, how are these not up for all this?
Hollywood had
stuff?
a fucking beef with that guy or something. He got the occasional nomination, but it was always like begrudging, you know. So I was like, all right, fine.
I guess this was really good. Yeah, Doctor Strangelove, I guess. Yeah,
oh boy.
No, Kubrick's the man, and Clockwork is definitely one of my top 5 favorite Kubrick movies. And one day that's going to happen on this show where we'll properly go through his stuff. And we did Doctor Strangelove a long time ago on this show, and I'd love to bring him back up, and it might be with the Clockwork one day.
Boy. Shit.
Yeah. Not for a while.
Yeah. That takes us to Best Director. We've got Stanley Kubrick for A Clockwork Orange, Norman Jewison for Fiddler on the Roof, Peter Bogdanovich for The Last Picture Show, John Schlesinger for Sunday Bloody Sunday, and the winner, William Friedkin, for The French Connection. God damn.
What a group.
I just want to point out, Norman Jewison got put on Fiddler on the Roof because the producers thought he was Jewish because his name is Norman Jewison, and he had to tell them, like, I'm not Jewish, right? I needed that to be said.
So good, man. Where does your vote go for this category?
Fuck.
But yeah, this is a murderer's row. I haven't seen Sunday Bloody Sunday.
Me neither.
Sunday Bloody Sunday.
I've seen U2 play the song in concert, but I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah.
I know this might be a surprise. I'm going to give this to Norman Jewison.
I was going to say it's going to be a surprise for me because I'd give it to Peter Bogdanovich.
Okay. We are literally throwing Friedkin and Kubrick to the curb for the new guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Any of those 4 is fine with me. Is totally fine. I think Norman Jewison, how he's able to make that 3-hour, I gave the movie 4 out of 5 stars. I give it an 8. I think it's really good for on the Roof. And is if you haven't seen it, it's totally worth your time. If you have a 3-hour afternoon, you just want to kill. I think you wrote in your review, you could do worse.
You could do worse. We have done worse.
Yeah. You could watch Hamlet from 1948 and totally ruin your afternoon. Or you could watch Fiddler on the Roof, 1971, a movie that has a couple of gutsy calls towards the end where I thought what I was watching was, okay, they're going to wrap this up in a nice little bow and da-da-da-da-da, la-di-da-di-da. But really, you have an ending that leaves you just kind of sunken in, and you have to deal with these choices. And I love how the idea of, is my faith worth it? Do I turn on my faith? Do I stand with my heart, or do I stand with my mind? Like all those little decisions you have to make, not little, big decisions you have to make as a human being. I love how they're represented here, especially towards the end of the film. And I thought Norman Jewison had a tremendous amount of touch on that, and kind of making it not just this musical that's whimsical and no. It's really, really gutsy and serious at some points, and makes you really think about what you believe and what you stand up for. And I love when a movie does those things.
Yeah, for a movie to be entirely steeped in a religion I know nothing about, to make that accessible and like a little relatable at times, that's impressive work. And also just keeping my interest for 3 hours and 20 minutes. That's impressive too. It's another film on our list here. Couldn't do that. So yeah, I think it'd be cool if Jewison took this. But honestly, of the 4 I've seen, any of them could have taken this. Yeah,
same. Yeah, I would have no problem with Kubrick, of course. How we just spoke about how Clockwork is just a frightening and captivating movie, and French Connection is just this perfect thriller from the 70s. And Last Picture Show shows Texas in a way that you just don't see very often. Even when there's a bunch of Texas movies, it's like its own country. So with that being said, I think Peter Bogdanovich, I think it would have been cool to see him take this award, because there are decisions. This movie takes place early fall of 1951 all the way to kind of the end of the school year, like May or June of 1952, almost covers a full year, but not quite. And it makes these cuts, these hard cuts, where you, in some movies, might be left wondering, oh, what happened in between, this month and this month? But with Last Picture Show, because it moves so well, like fucking butter, you don't have those you don't second guess yourself or Peter Bogdanovich. You're just like, okay, I trust that whatever is happening in between that time, he's going to take care of in some other way with the narrative. And he does that over and over. When Dwayne Jackson, Jeff Bridges' character, we all of a sudden find out that he's a part of like the military, it just makes sense. It's like, oh yeah, that amount of time went by. He didn't know what to do. Him and his friend had a falling out. Okay, makes sense. And when a movie does that, because movies do that a lot, they take their liberties with the story and cutting certain stuff and not telling you certain pieces of someone's life. That's the difference in like a wonderful movie and then a movie turned into a fucking mini series these days, because they're like, oh, we have to say everything. We have to spoon feed every little thing to the audience. I love when a movie is smart enough and the director is that good to where that doesn't need to be done. It's just, no, here's the 2 hours and just fucking deal with it. Some like Boyhood, one of my favorite movies of this century, really does that so well. It is 3 hours, but it cuts so much stuff and decides to take very specific things from Eller Coltrane. I think his name is Mason. Yeah, Mason's life in that movie, showing certain glimpses with him and his dad, Ethan Hawke. So showing certain stuff with Patricia Arquette, his mom. I love those touches when I'm not harping on the stuff that I'm missing and I'm just focused on what I'm seeing.
Yeah,
that's such a powerful kind of trick of the trade. And Peter Bogdanovich he's got my attention.
Well, they have to, how do you compress a person's entire life into 2 hours?
Yeah, it's not happening.
You gotta kind of make a greatest hits reel. And yeah, Boyhood did that. And yeah, I think Last Picture Show is very much the most important moments of these kids' lives at the end of high school. And this was a time when you're like, what do? You either join the army or you went to work with dad at the mill. There's no really or college. Yeah.
Again, this is the early 50s, This is a very interesting time in America. Well, it's kind of always been an interesting time in America.
Well, I've never seen 50s kids acting like people before. That was a big thing. Like they're always, it's always Pleasantville or Leave It to Beaver, or this like idealized, oh, gee Willikers, Sandra, will you meet me down at the, like all that shit.
Yeah. Or like a bunch of greasers. Yeah.
The fucking socias, it's the outsiders, hey, what, I can't take that shit. Where this was, we're teenagers, we're horny, and we're going to fuck everything that moves. And it is forever. Like, the relationship you make in high school to them, this is the rest of their lives. They don't think past tomorrow night. And I've never seen that, shown like this before. I was very impressed with that.
Yeah. Great movie. Great movie. It just deserves all this attention and these nominations, and maybe should have won a couple more,
Maybe. Yeah. That takes us to Best Actor, which is a very interesting bunch. Again, we've got Peter Finch for Sunday Bloody Sunday, Walter Matthau for Koch, George C. Scott for The Hospital, Topol for Fiddler on the Roof, and the winner, of course, Gene Hackman for The French Connection.
Oh, I gotta see The Hospital. God damn it. Patty Chayefsky, a guy behind Network, the story of Network what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? George C. Scott, just a brilliant performer. Gotta see The Hospital. I have a feeling my opinion will change when I see that movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. George C. Scott has that effect on people.
Yeah, 100%.
So, as it stands, Hackman, I assume, for you.
Yeah, between the two, yeah. I can't say, Peter Finch is another awesome performer. I got to see Sunday Bloody Sunday. I can't quite say, but yeah, if it was between Topol and Gene Hackman, I'd go Hackman. I love him. I love him as Popeye. He's just so good.
Personally, I think 100% that this was Malcolm McDowell's award that he got robbed of.
Agreed.
But Hackman does a good job, and yeah, he'll put the in. I would have loved to have heard Topal's speech, though. I feel like he would have been very excited and humble about this.
He's great. He's great in Fiddler on the Roof. You know, you're asking him to do all kinds of shit in that movie, and he's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And that takes us to Best Picture.
Hell yeah.
We've got A Clockwork Orange, Fiddler on the Roof, The Last Picture Show, Nicholas and Alexandra, and the winner, The French Connection. And we have ranked these 5 films, 5, of course, being the worst, 1 being the best. And this is a showdown. So let's do this.
Oh, God. The classic showdowns. These are so much fun, you know. Going 5-1 is the best. I'm going to let you start. But before we do that, Clute, Jane Fonda. I have to shout her out one more time. I was incorrect. That is her first win, but her first nomination is 1969's They Shoot Horses, Don't They? Of course. Silly me. 1977, Julia. 1978, Coming Home. She won. China Syndrome, 1979. On Golden Pond, 1981. And The Morning After, 1986. Just a fucking crazy run that she went on in the 70s and 80s. I love her to death. A while back, I watched a lot of those movies, and I've watched other ones that are outside of that group since, because Criterion put a big collection up for her. And I just had no idea. You know, you hear hype about old actors from different eras and don't have the knowledge for yourself, but I love taking that dive. And Clute, to me, before we get to this 5, well, it totally deserves a spot in the Best Picture category. The way Malcolm McDowell deserves a spot in the Best Actor category, Clute should be here. I don't really understand it. I don't really know what was going on in the room. I mean, there's a couple movies I would take out to put it in. It's that good. I love Clute.
I got to see Clute. I'm not well versed in Jane Fonda at all. She's an actress I really have to look into.
You also, I know you know a few things about Donald Sutherland. He is fucking outstanding in that movie. And Roy Scheider. Roy Scheider plays like an insane pimp in that movie. So what a guy.
That alone I got to see.
Yeah, dude, there's one scene where you're just like, dude, he's on cocaine. There's no way Roy Scheider is doing this scene without being just high off his ass. There's no way.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Yeah. One film I got to shout out because it's in my top 10 of all time. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Of course, I knew that was coming. Had to.
How does that not get more love here? It's one of the most celebrated films of all time. Everyone grew up with that movie. I want Gene Wilder to have a spot here. I want, Best Original Song, Pure Imagination. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh, so I wish that got more love. It only got a nomination for score. It deserves so much more. Production design, sound design. Like it had a shot at everything.
Yeah, I agree. It is I think I mentioned A French Connection. I think those are the 2 that are probably from 1971. They're like, what are you doing if you haven't seen these? What are you doing? Yeah.
I would personally throw Dirty Harry into that mix as well.
Okay. No, that's a good one. That's a good shout. Dirty Harry. God, what a movie. Oh, I mean, Dirty Harry. Yeah. If we're doing our top 5s in 1971, it just looks way different.
Yeah. Big time. Yeah. And I've only seen 13 movies from this year.
I think I've seen around that, somewhere in between 10 and 15. There's some movies like Let's Scare Jessica to Death that I'm like, that movie's fucking kick ass. Random weird horror movie. I like this year a lot from what I've seen.
Yeah. One of my favorite underdog films in 1971 is Duel.
Oh, good shout. Good shout.
So simple. Just crazy ass truck driver chases guy for an hour and a half. That's the whole movie. But you're so goddamn mesmerized. It's impossible to not get drawn into it. It's great.
It's all you need.
Oh, yeah. Love shouting out just random films.
Beautiful. Well, I got sidetracked a little bit there with Clute, but who gives a shit? Go ahead and start off with your 5th. I think it's the same for me.
Yeah, it's Nicholas and Alexandra.
Yeah, 100%. This belongs at the bottom of the barrel. Yeah.
Does not hold a candle to these other 4 films. It's a long-winded, boring, overzealous Russian drama that isn't even telling the right story.
Yeah.
Visually it's great. I love seeing a lot of, familiar actors like Ian Holm and Brian Cox have bit parts before they really got going. But overall, it's just, I don't care. Like, when you're telling stories of big historical figures like this, you got to get the facts straight. And painting Nicholas II as kind of a sympathetic character is a bit disingenuous, in my opinion. I think, his poor leadership decisions got a lot of people killed in World War I. He was, his forced abdication and then the Bolshevik Revolution led to a hell of a lot more people getting killed over the next century. So I blame pretty much the entire Cold War on this inept bastard.
Yeah, rightfully so. Rightfully so. The runtime, I'm not. Yeah, it's long. It's really long. I went into it open-minded because Franklin J. Schaffner is the director of Patton from a year before, the Best Picture winner, almost a 3-hour movie. Yeah, there's like 2 fucking discs. There's like a, it's also really, really long. What that movie does is it gives you this singular character, Patton, George C. Scott, unreal performance. That's a big part of it. I think it does something that other 3-hour movies fail to do, which is pull you in multiple directions the entire time, where you're constantly, oh man, this guy's doing some good here. Oh man, this guy's a dick. Oh, this guy's doing some good. And Nicholas and Alexandra, it just kind of slowly keeps going down and down and down. There's interesting stuff. It looks gorgeous. The production design is out of this world, and the commitment on that front is amazing. But as a whole movie, I think you could skip it. I don't think it's totally worth that 3 hours. It's not worth your time like Fiddler on the Roof is worth your time. There's a lot better 3-hour movies. I think I ended up giving it a 7, but I don't know, 6 or 7, I guess. It's not terrible, but it's also not good. And like you said, is disingenuous to those characters and those people who lived real lives and ruined a lot of shit. The ending is bonkers and is pretty, pretty wild to handle, but doesn't really deserve that ending with what it's doing the like hour before that. So I don't know. It's tough.
It could have been trimmed down for sure. I think, why bother including the Bolshevik Revolution if it's just going to take up like 15 minutes? I mean, that's the most interesting part of this is the transition to communist Russia, and it barely touches it.
Yeah, that's where I was kind of confused. I was like, wait, what is this about?
Yeah, exactly. And that was a shame. The ending, you see it. If you know anything about Russian history, you know what's coming. The Romanovs were assassinated. And there's that whole, did Anastasia get away? And they made an animated movie about it for some reason.
Yeah.
No, she didn't. She's dead too. I don't know where that fucking came from. Like all the bodies were found.
Disney just being weird.
So weird. I did like Tom Baker as Rasputin. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah.
I was like, let's just get more of him. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the 4th Doctor as fucking Rasputin. That's so neat. But other than that, it felt like a greatest hits reel of Russian history. And then once they got into Siberia, it just slowed down even further. I remember thinking, can they just kill him already so I could move on? I remember thinking that, like, just execute him. Jesus Christ, we know you're going to do it. Just do it.
Yeah, get it over with. Yeah.
That's kind of fucked up because these were real people, but they were assholes.
Real monsters. Yeah.
Did the kids deserve it? Probably not.
No child really deserves that because they haven't decided. Yeah. I don't have a tremendous amount to say about it. I watched it in like 3 sittings because it just required that from my attention span. Is if it's not, Paul Thomas Anderson super cutty and filmed and edited, every second, I'm going to get bored. Yeah.
Yeah. I just kind of powered through and just thought, like this, who's this for? This is so oddly paced. American audiences, most of them, odds are not going to care about this story, especially in the early 70s. A biopic on a Russian dictator. I mean, that's some ballsy. That's ballsy for the career.
Yeah, so
you're gonna do General Patton, and you're gonna follow that with Nicholas II, like great leader. Great, like regarded as a great American. versus a poor Russian leader. It's just an odd, it's like you couldn't do a more polar opposite biopic. I don't know. I wonder what he did next, Schaffner.
After Nicholas and Alexandra, I know right before that was Planet of the Apes, 1968.
Fuck, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Cool.
What?
Papillon. Okay.
Oh, there you go. 1973, another 2.5 hour monster.
And then The Boys from Brazil, which I've always wanted to see. So yeah, he kept going.
Oh yeah. Kept going until 1989. Welcome Home, which is an hour and a half. It's like, oh, okay, where was that at the whole time? He passed away that year, so that was his last movie. Yeah, it's definitely a career worth keeping an eye out for and giving another chance, because there's good stuff there. But Nicholas and Alexandra is not it.
Nope, this is the last time I'll probably ever talk about that movie.
Yeah. There's no way I'm going to ever bring it up. Yeah, in a conversation, like, you got to see this.
And honestly, who the hell else on earth would I talk about that movie with?
There you go. Definitely in the rear view. You're number 4. Here we go. It's time to get, the rest of these movies are good. It's time to get serious. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is Fiddler on the Roof.
Okay, same.
Yeah, and that's not to disparage this movie. It's just the other 3 are really good. But so is Fiddler on the Roof. It's 4 straight 8s for me. Oh,
wow. These are 4 8s. Okay. Yeah, I definitely differ. I mean, you know what? Yeah.
I'm the one who posts the reviews. I know what you gave French Connection.
Yeah. It's one of my first reviews I ever wrote. It's only like a paragraph long because I was like, I don't even know what to say. It's just perfect.
Oh, boy. So Fiddler on the Roof is a Broadway play about a Jewish dairy farmer named Tevye, who wants the best for his daughters, but his daughters have all fallen in love with men with no means. And he's like, God damn it. And he's constantly asking God, like, really? Can I get a win here? Which is funny as hell. I love that. And Tevye is such a charming guy. Like, he's so, Topol does such a great job making this guy likable, and you want to see his family succeed. And the songs are so memorable. I've had If I Was a Rich Man stuck in my head for like a month now.
Oh, yeah. Same. How can you not?
Yeah. And also, it ties in with history, with, World War I, the Russians trying to get rid of the Jewish people. Every culture, every European culture seems to do this. Just, blame the Jews, get rid of them. It fucking sucks. But, weaving that into the story adds, a whole other layer of sympathy, and just really keeps your interest the whole time. And I love seeing Tevye kind of lose his shit every time one of his daughters says, "This is the man I love." And every time he's just like, "Why?"
Yeah, he just kind of does that big dad sigh, like, oh. It's hilarious. Yeah, this is a good movie. It's on Prime Video right now. So is Nicholas and Alexandra. But if you're going to choose one of the 3-hour ones, this is the one. Again, like I said a little bit ago when we were talking about Norman Jewison in the director category and why I think he had a chance to win that. It toys with huge human kind of moments and these formative experiences as a person, and it looks incredible. I think that's one of the main reasons it's aged well, along with its music. It's fun to look at. There are times where you're like, holy shit, this scenery is partly why film was ever made. Was, hey, wouldn't it be cool to show someone who lives in New York City what it looks like in Texas? Wouldn't it be cool to show someone who lives in Japan what it looks like in Los Angeles? That stuff is cool. And when you care a lot about moments in time and history with that backdrop and what is coming, what is coming for Jewish people, it like you said, adds a big old fat layer to it. So I had a blast. This is an 8 out of 10 for me.
Yeah.
I will probably buy it, and I will probably buy it soon. I think it's something I want to rewatch, and I would love to watch with my daughter one day. I would love to do that.
That's nice. That's sweet. Yeah, I immediately bought a copy for my grandma because she didn't have one. And so now we always have Fiddler on the Roof.
There you go. Set.
I do have one little funny tidbit regarding this film. Back in 2004, Alfred Molina played Tevye on Broadway in Fiddler on the Roof. And he had just gotten that role towards the end of filming Spider-Man 2. So there is footage of Doc Ock in full costume singing Tevye, learning his lines. And it is so fun.
That's brilliant.
I recommend looking that up just for the laughs.
Yeah, I will. I love me some Alfred Molina, and that sounds like Alfred Molina. Those two things at once, like a definition of an actor, and then him playing fucking Doc Ock in this monster blockbuster movie. That's perfect.
Oh, it's great. All right, so that was your 4 as well?
Yes, it is. So down to the top 3. This is where it gets really, really interesting.
I know for a fact this is gonna be different.
Okay.
My number 3 is The French Connection.
Okay. Yes, we are different.
Oh boy. So The French Connection is a vastly important film for cinema. It's a fun, fast-paced crime thriller with memorable characters. I think that if there was no French Connection, I doubt there would have been a Taxi Driver. Just, films that really showcased a time in American history that was just dangerous as shit. But, you see it from the cop's perspective in French Connection. You see it from the criminal's perspective in Taxi Driver. And I like that. I think that's actually a pretty badass double feature. And I like it. I like these other 2 films just a little bit more.
Totally fair.
More. I think, French Connection's, it's got its audience. It's a cool movie. Last Picture Show and A Clockwork Orange. They floored me. These are one of a kind movies.
Yeah, that's fair. There are movies that do what French Connection's doing. I mean, even a couple years before Bullet, that's a movie that people are saying, okay, all right, well, French Connection's just kind of trying to improve what's going on in Bullet. Well, I think you're right. I think Picture Show and Clockwork are singular experiences.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it comes down to for me. Like, I love when we actually have a legitimate showdown and I have to think about this shit.
Oh, yeah. I've been thinking about it all day. Yeah. Yeah. I've gone back and forth all day with my top 3. 4, 5, and 4 were pretty clear. Nicholas and Alexandra is very clearly the 5th and should be caught out for a lot of other movies. But Fiddler on the Roof, I think Fiddler on the Roof, has a good chance here in being in this category. But as far as competing against the other 3, I don't think it has much of a shot. So French Connection number 3 for you. I like it. I like it a lot. I think you'll be equally surprised here when I say that my number 3 is A Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, there we go. Yep.
Fuck me. Clockwork Orange. Again, one of my favorite Kubrick movies. One of my favorite movies to just kind of, if I'm alone and I can't sleep, I'll just throw this weird ass crazy movie on and not sleep even more. It's like it enhances some sort of dark thing that goes on in my mind when I can't sleep, where it's like, oh, I better watch something that's going to keep me up and make me fucking miserable. Clockwork Orange does that. Stanley Kubrick does that for me. I love this movie. I'll just say that this was the most difficult decision to make since we've done the Best Picture Showdowns, because Clockwork Orange I've always had as a 10 in my book. I've always had it, right when I got Letterboxd, one of the first things I did was Clockwork Orange, 5 stars, like no fucking question. And I'm going to have some stuff to explain as we move on with our other 2. I just, with Best Picture and this category and what it means, this movie is not for everybody. It is, some people probably should not watch it. I think it will it could heighten anxiety for a lot of people. I've watched it with other people or shown it to other people who are like, are you crazy? Like, what is wrong with you? Why do you like this? Why are you showing me this? And I have no way to really justify it. I'm just like, it's just great storytelling and it's fucking nuts and it's a crazy movie. I don't know how to properly say, I love A Clockwork Orange, and just say that as a sentence. It deserves context. It deserves explaining. And I just don't. I mean, that movie is uber dark. One of the darkest movies that I think's ever been up for Best Picture. I had texted that to you. I was like, dude, it's just crazy that it was up for Best Picture. I mean, this is the 44th Academy Awards. We're more than double past that, in real life now. And this is 50 years ago. And I mean, like Parasite, which won, the 2019 films, it beat out all the 2019 films. There's some really dark moments in that movie. There's some really dark moments in Joker, but Clockwork is like evil. It's pure evil. And I don't know. Maybe if I were doing a straight up top 5 of my just my 1971 movies, I might think differently. But when I'm looking at Best Picture and what that means and how important that is to people who do care about the Oscars, I don't know if it beats out these other two. And I'll have more to say about that when I say my other two films, because again, I think Clockwork is a 10 out of 10 in my mind and a must see for people who want to go to strange places, but not a must see for everybody.
Yeah, that's very true. That's a movie that can make or break a relationship.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to be, you got to really know somebody before you recommend A Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, I mean, right from the get-go. It's like right from the get-go, you're like, oh boy. You're like looking over at the person you're watching it with, and they're like, all bug-eyed and just, why are they doing this? Why are they doing this? You're like, I don't know. It's fucking crazy though, right?
Yeah, I'll have more to say when we get to it on my top 5. But yeah, I had a feeling the other two. I feel like over the course of the years we've known each other in this show, I've gotten to know you and the way you rank films pretty well. So I won't say this is a surprise.
Okay, that's fair. I love it. I love that. I've seen Clockwork so many times within a 7-year span, and obviously I talked about how 3 of these were a first time watch for me. So wild.
2, right?
Number 2. Yeah, we're down. So I had we both had Nicholas Alexandra, both had Fiddler on the Roof at 4. And then at 3, you had French and I had Clockwork.
Okay. My number 2 is The Last Picture Show.
Same.
I expected to hate this. I love Jeff Bridges. I don't really care for coming of age movies. I think they're insufferable most of the time. I've talked about that on a few of these shows. I just don't care for teenagers and their petty little problems.
Yeah.
But something about this movie, of what Bogdanovich did with this story, I did care, and I was drawn in, and I did feel for these characters, and I was surprised at that. Like, something Bogdanovich did made my heart grow 3 sizes. I don't know what happened, but suddenly I was like, don't be with this girl. Cloris Leachman's really nice. Like, she's a good person. Be with her. Like, dude, what are you doing? Stop thinking with your dick for 5 seconds and make a decision. I was surprised. I was into this. I think the cinematography is beautiful. I think the performances are fantastic. And it's a story about a town losing its soul. And I think that's brilliant. I think this had a really cool shot at Best Picture. I think it would have represented a lot if this had won the big one. I think it's one of the smartest coming of age films I've ever seen, and something I'm definitely going to watch again. I have a feeling that in the future, this is going to be its own episode on this show. And I can't wait.
Yeah. No question. It's at my number 2. And this is where I have some explaining to do, because I gave this movie a 9.
Yeah. I want to hear what's up with that.
So Clockwork is a 10 and Last Picture Show is a 9. Last Picture Show very well could move up after a couple more watches to a 10. but I personally like Clockwork more for me. The Last Picture Show is like, dude, you have to see this. I don't care who you are. I don't care what kind of movies you like. I don't care what you've seen and what you think you know. Last Picture Show is a must. Anarene, Texas, tiny town in North Texas, ghost town. Like you said, coming of age, all these things. I definitely thought, oh, this is probably gonna be the one that Connor likes the least. I thought, oh, movie about, fucking, Russia while it's going through all these massive changes. I was like, oh, Connor's going to love that, and then I thought Last Picture Show, oh boy, coming of age Texas movie. Here we go. but it goes beyond, it goes so far beyond that. I think you mentioned earlier how honest and how true it is to how teenagers actually act. So many coming of age movies are just like, this is horse shit. Yeah. Like these kids that are supposed to be 16, 17 are like, have shit just totally figured out, or they're just insufferable, like you mentioned. And it's got to be somewhere in between. It's gray. It's not black and white. It's gray. And these characters are very gray. Sonny is, right from the beginning of the film, he's breaking up with a girl and then going on. He's like in this fucking, weird affair with his football coach's mom. Like, what the fuck? What's going on there?
I think it was his football coach's wife.
I meant wife. Mom would
have been a lot weirder.
She'd be like 90 years old. I'm sorry. Wife. Yeah. What a crazy, realistic depiction of what could happen in a tiny town. What could happen during this time when there's no phones. There's no way to really know what's going on with somebody. There's no way to track them, oh, well, he'll just be home at 8:00. So come on over whenever you want after school, we'll just bang it out. And you're like, what in the world? And then I was floored by the scenes where, Dwayne Jackson, Jeff Bridges' character, all of his friends are like fucking pushing him to go to this hotel room so he can lose his virginity and da. And then they don't do it because he can't get an erection. And his friends are like, how was it? And he's like, oh, it was great. And has to lie about this. The little tidbits it has at just how fucked up masculinity is, this is the 50s and it's just the exact same now. It's just the exact fucking same. It's timeless because of that, because it hones in on what people really do and how they really act at this age. And I loved that. I loved Sam the Lion's character, his little bits where he's just kind of explaining his little wisdom, his little nuggets of wisdom. I love those bits. And the layout of the town, the little changes that show that it's the 50s in fucking Texas, where women aren't allowed to play pool, fucking crazy, it's a borderline masterpiece. I really do think it'll move up to a 10 if I watch it like one more time, maybe two more times. But I have it as a 9. I gave it 4.5 stars on Letterboxd, and I was like, fuck, I'm going to have to, I think this might be a better overall movie than Clockwork, because everybody should see it and everybody will probably take something away from it, while Clockwork is like, it has its audience and the audience is fucked and there's no two ways about it. So I don't know. I've never really done that before. I've never really sided this way where it's like, oh, I personally like this movie maybe a little bit more because of what it kind of does for me and, in my soul. But I can't see how someone wouldn't be rocked by Last Picture Show.
Yeah, me too. Like you said, this movie represents everything I usually cannot stand in film, but something, it drew me in. And that's great. That's something special.
Yeah. God, it's so good. I'm going to buy that shit. I also love the title. And then you have Dwayne and Sonny seeing a movie together. Like, holy fuck, that just tore me to pieces. Them seeing a movie and then kind of saying goodbye at the end. And then Sonny's like, I don't know what the fuck to do. And so he goes back to Ruth and you're like, oh, Jesus. It will 100% get its own episode at some point. And I would love to do top 5 Texas movies for that. Texas-based movies. A big place in my heart, and it would be a very tough top 5, probably the toughest we've ever done. So I would love to do that, man. I know Linklater takes a lot from Picture Show. You know, you see a lot of Dazed Confused in it. You see a lot of Everybody Wants Some in it. You see a lot of just that honest conversation from it in Linklater's style. So it's an important movie for what I watch and what I've fallen in love with. So Bogdanovich, you're the man. And you 100% have my attention.
In my Sopranos rewatch, I had completely forgotten that he played Dr. Melfi's therapist.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
He's everywhere.
Yeah. Dude's everywhere. Oh boy. So obviously my number 1 is A Clockwork Orange.
Yes.
Now I feel like I got some splaining to do.
You're safe here with me. I love this movie.
This movie is one of the most fucked up, unsettling, sick movies that has ever been up for Best Picture. And I think for that reason, it should have taken the gold. I think Kubrick deserved one. I think that this film winning Best Picture would have done so much for the future of horror and how the Academy recognized it. I think that would have been substantial. I think if Clockwork had gotten a win for Best Picture, I don't think it would have been crazy to think, Texas Chainsaw might have made a bit of an impression on the Academy. I think they would have looked at horror differently in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, I think by that logic, I think Exorcist might beat The Sting.
It might have. Yeah, absolutely. If it had that extra push of horror, having an Oscar win like that.
Or Carrie maybe getting in 1976 to try to take down Rocky. Yeah.
Shit looks different. And this film is unlike anything else I've ever seen. I've never seen anything that comes remotely close to resembling this movie. This is a one of a kind, what in the fuck did I just watch kind of movie. No matter how many times you watch it, you walk away thinking like, I need to take a shower.
Yeah.
I don't feel clean right now.
I need to go through a car wash. Me.
I don't have a Bible, but I'm going to go get one.
Yeah.
It's just,
if there's movies playing in hell, this is one of them.
Yeah, man. It's wild. I remember back a while ago, Julie and I did a Filmgazm episode. I think it was The Sixth Sense, where I did a whole bit. No, it was Fatal Attraction. That's what it was. It was Fatal Attraction.
Yeah.
And I did a whole bit on horror movies that have been nominated for Best Picture. And A Clockwork Orange and Deliverance were right next to each other. And I had to I said something about how like I don't want to watch Deliverance immediately because I know the rape scene is going to be like horrific for me. And Julie pointed out something great that I want to address now because I've never addressed it. And it's always kind of ate at me. She argued, why would the rape scene in Deliverance freak me out, but I still go back to A Clockwork Orange?
Yeah, straight up.
And I don't really have a good answer for that. It's fucked up, but I think I've seen it enough to the point where I've gotten desensitized. And that's not cool. It's a disturbing scene, but it doesn't take me out of the movie anymore. And I don't know if that's just something that I should be wary of. It might be. I think, certain things you have to be aware that you're like, this is sick and disturbing. I need to be uncomfortable right now.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
This is a movie that I've just seen so many times now that I expect everything that happens in it. And I'm not excusing the scene by any means here.
No.
It's incredibly horrific. I just find it interesting that I don't feel the same now as I did when I saw it the first time I watched this movie. I despised it. I thought, this is disgusting. This is horrifying. It's kind of boring. I don't like this. And then I watched it again for a Kubrick focused class I took in college, which was the most fun I've ever had in college. And we watched A Clockwork Orange again. And I remember my teacher warning everybody, like, look, this is not a fun movie. Like, be prepared to talk heavily. Next time we meet, this is going to disturb some of you. And I'd watched it again and I was like, yeah, there's something here. And then for this, I watched it, I think this is like the fourth or fifth time. And I just I just watched it like a regular movie. Like there wasn't really any moment of like, ugh. I was just kind of like, oh, all right. And then I went and got an iced tea and came back. And I'm wondering, like, is that fucked up, or is that just natural progression? I don't know.
I think there's also those are fantastic points to bring up. And a big reason why I have it third here, is like, I don't think everybody needs to see it. I think there's some people who just let it go, like let it happen, let it go. But then there's this whole cult. There was a bar in San Antonio. I don't know if it's still there. There was a bar called the Corova Bar in San Antonio, downtown San Antonio. Culturally, this movie, for whatever reason, people just latch onto that shit. And I know it's Kubrick, I know it's, it's the man himself, and it's got the creepy ass music and these crazy tones and amazing performances. But at the end of the day, it has 3 or 4 scenes that are like, holy fuck, what am I watching? Why am I watching this? You pointed out, you had texted me, there's a scene where a woman gets beat with a giant ceramic cock. Why? What are we doing? And there's no way to justify it. That's not happening. And I think culturally this movie is just so large now, whereas something like Deliverance, it's not. And that's what about it. That's coming. And you're like, oh Jesus, like I'm gonna have to go through a scene that I know I'm gonna have a hard time with. With Clockwork, you have all these other things to attach to it, mainly that it's a Stanley Kubrick production.
But like, and it's not just because, Deliverance is male on male rape, and that's somehow more disturbing to me. I've also put off watching The Accused and Irreversible for the same reasons.
Yeah.
And A Clockwork Orange particular, I think you are right. It is, it's a Kubrick film. It's a Malcolm McDowell film. It's a dystopian sci-fi thriller. There's more things in this movie than just the rape scene.
100%. Have you seen Girl with the Dragon Tattoo?
Not yet, no.
That movie also has like a brutal rape scene. And, I saw that movie in theaters, and of course it's, you got the Swedish versions, the trilogy, and then you have the David Fincher 2011 one starring Daniel Craig and Rooney Mara. And that's the one that I saw in theaters, of course. And, that was the first time I was 16. And that was the first time where I remember, like, I saw something like that in a theater, like intending on, I'm going to see this movie. I am going to see this David Fincher movie. It's the movie he followed Social Network up with. I got to see this. And just being kind of like, wait a minute, is this morally, like, what's going on here? How am I supposed to take this in? I was fucking 16. Like, you just got so many things going on in your brain. And to deal with that, not too long ago, we talked about Leaving Las Vegas. Brutal scene in that movie. It's a difficult thing, and I'm glad we can kind of talk about it without, beating around the bush and being kind of like weird about it. It's in the films, it's in the art, and to just ignore it and just I'll just fast forward through it. That doesn't sit well with me either. So, I think it's a gray conversation and a gray topic, and Clockwork. I think the best answer I have for just kind of like, oh, this is why it's like accepted culturally is mostly because it's a Kubrick film.
Yeah, that's true. I think, to some people, it has the same kind of vibe and reaction that Fight Club had of this, like, movies that these like just creeps have embraced, like a guy movie, like the whole ultra violence concept, Project Mayhem. I see a lot of connections between Clockwork and Fight Club.
Yeah, just fucked up masculinity. People quite frankly taking it the wrong way.
Yeah, exactly. People using art as an excuse to be just monumental pricks and psychopaths.
Yeah, and people were obsessed with that stuff. Do you remember when, of course you do, when Dark Knight came out and people were just like, why so serious? And they were just running around like, I'm going to get a tattoo now. And you're like, I don't know. Off. Like,
when the Joker became a symbol of like, anarchy in society, of like, it's fucked up, man. The things people latch onto and try to find meaning in, it's fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of movies, and when movies are good and entertain me, I will take my hat off and
and
respect them, but it's not something I'm going to fucking live by.
I love A Clockwork Orange. I love The Dark Knight. I love Fight Club, but not any time ever have I ever considered one of those movies dictating the way I live my life. I mean,
well said.
Jesus Christ, you need therapy more than anything else if that's what you're doing.
Yeah. And culturally, sometimes those movies get accepted that way, and I just it doesn't sit well with me. It's just so weird.
It all came back when Joker came out.
That's a whole other. The more and more I think about that movie, the less and less I like it. And not so much for what the movie itself is. I do think it's a bit dull at times, and I think it's not a just copycat version of Taxi Driver and King of Comedy, but it is very much towing the line with paying homage and stealing. And then what it did to culture was just like kind of disgusting. So not totally for me. My number one is obviously The French Connection.
Yeah.
This is the one. This is the one that you're batshit crazy if you don't have a good time watching this movie. You are beyond crazy. This is just as fun as it gets in American cinema. You got Friedkin and Ernest Tidyman and all these wonderful performers and Owen Roizman at behind the camera, and you have right from the start you got a couple of undercover detectives fucking going at it trying to find some people selling drugs in 70s New York. Okay, sign me up. And then you have them catching wind of a huge shipment's coming in, and they're all we got to figure this out, because this is our job, this is what we do. And the performances of Gene Hackman and Roy Schreider as Popeye and Cloudy, staying up till 7 a.m. sometimes just to like go on stakeouts. And then the chase scenes, Jesus Christ, the chase scenes are absolutely iconic. It's everything you want in a movie. Hour and 45 minutes, just doesn't ever let up, just doesn't ever step off the gas. And I love that about it. I've seen it so many times now, and it never fails me. Every time I watch it, I'm just glued to the screen and wanting to text everybody on my phone, like quotes from it, even if they haven't even fucking seen the movie. It has that effect on me. It's always been one of my favorite Best Picture winners, and I think it deserved this win. I love it so much. But Picture Show and Clockwork, brilliant movies. I don't think there's any wrong answer here between those three. But for me, and my experience in watching stuff, I've probably seen French Connection 10 to 12 times, and it's just every time I'm just floored. And I'm one of those people who loves the ending where it's kind of like, oh, what happened there? You heard that last gunshot. What really happened there? And then the credits start, the little title card stuff start coming up, and it says, and he was never caught, and you're like, oh, fuck. Popeye just lost his goddamn mind those last 5 minutes. They had the job done. They just had to stay calm. Stay calm. You can figure this out. And he ends up shooting another cop. Oh, and then you got Cloudy. Roy Scheider's like, dude, you shot him. Like, what's wrong with you? I love that. I love that ending. It's super intense, super gritty, and again, the stuff that's happening in between is just perfection to me.
Yeah, no argument here. I figured.
Yeah.
I think it is. It's an interesting, like, our hero here is one bad day away from being just as bad as these guys, as the guys he locks up.
Yep.
And it's hard, it's hard to root for that guy sometimes. Like, there's a moment where he does like one of the chief things a hero is never supposed to do. He shoots a man in the back. And I mean, it's so interesting how he kind of represents the best and worst of the NYPD in the 70s. He's a corrupt cop, but he does want to get the job done. It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah. He's relentless. And it's a gift and a curse. There's times where it's like, okay, all the other cops are sleeping and he's watching and he's paying attention and trying to do his job to the best of his abilities. But by doing that, he gets tired, he gets drunk, he gets weary-eyed and starts making silly decisions. And that's like perfect for a movie, is that teetering. I mean, at one point he sees a girl riding on a bike and he's like, huh. And he takes her over to his apartment, and she fucking handcuffs him to his own bed, with his own handcuffs. And you're just like, who is this cop? Just completely out of his mind.
Well, we get to see this his dedication turn into obsession as he, pursues this French guy. And it very much does remind me of, like Jaws or Moby Dick, this like, this unattainable goal that is just going to waste you away, and the way they tell you that the guy was never caught, it ultimately amounts to nothing. His whole pursuit was completely meaningless. All it did was ruin his career and get an FBI agent killed.
Yeah.
It's
straight up.
And I've never seen the French Connection 2, so I don't know how this all panned out. But
I don't really like talking about that one. Yeah.
So not well, apparently. Okay.
I own it, but it's not one of my favorites. We'll just say that. I think leaving it alone would have been the best decision. But I think Hackman wanted to go back to the character, and there's certainly stuff you can do afterwards with it. It's just not totally for me.
Yeah, I get it. I'll probably watch it at some point, just to satisfy my own curiosity. But I'm not going to go out of my way.
Yeah, yeah. You know how there's like isn't there a what movie was it? Jack Nicholson. There's some sort of sequel he's a part of from. Is it Chinatown?
Yeah, the two Jakes.
That's right, the two Jakes. Yeah, just like really? You really have to do that?
Last Picture Show, they got a sequel.
Yeah, I know. From like the 90s, right?
Yeah, where they're all old and like realize maybe we should have planned our future better.
Yeah, I don't want to do that to myself, It's I love when an ending is for me, and Last Picture Show and French Connection both have really cool endings to me. I just want to leave it at that.
I got you. I get it. So I believe we have some awards to give out to the French Connection.
Yes, we do. Yeah, my number one. So my number one is French. Number two, Last Picture Show. 3, Clockwork. 4, Fiddler on the Roof, and 5, Nicholas and Alexandra.
Number 5, Nicholas and Alexandra. Number 4, Fiddler on the Roof. Number 3, The French Connection. Number 2, The Last Picture Show. Number 1, A Clockwork Orange.
So we just had that swap from 3 and 1. That's it. Those top 3 are great. They could all be argued as masterpieces. So if you haven't seen them, we've already ruined them. So I don't know what you're doing. Yeah,
I have no problems ever spoiling a movie that's 50 years old.
Yeah, hell no. Especially a movie that I feel like I'm late to, like The Last Picture Show. It's like, well, this is my time to talk about it. I'm late to it, so here we go. Yeah, we got some stuff here for French Connection. Then we'll close it out with this. We have the Tarantino Award for Best Line or Quote. We have the Ennio Morricone Award for the Best Music Moment. We have the Philip Seymour Hoffman for the Best Performance of the movie. And we have the Roger Deakins Award for the Best Scene of the movie. Oh, take it away with your Tarantino, this awesome screenplay.
So I've got 2, one quick funny one, and then one long-winded real one. My funny one comes from when he's him and Cloudy are roused in the bar, and Popeye says to some guy, "Move ass when I call you." I love the phrase "move ass." Like, not even like hurry the fuck up. I love that. I've started using that. Just, move ass. Come on, let's go. When I'm in a hurry.
Yeah. Move ass.
And then my real one comes from when he and Cloudy at the beginning, when they bust the drug peddler as Santa Claus.
Yes.
And he goes, "All right, you put a shiv in my partner. You know what that means? God damn it. All winter long, I got to listen to him gripe about his bowling scores. I'm going to bust your ass for those 3 bags. And I'm going to nail you for picking your feet in Poughkeepsie." Right there, you're like, this guy's nuts. He's unstable.
So good. The real life cops that this is the book is written. It's Eddie Egan. That's Popeye's character, and I can't remember the other guy's name. Cloudy, the real guy's name. But apparently they used that bad cop, good cop, bad cop, like all the time. That was their thing. Was Roy Scheider's character would constantly be like asking real questions and trying to get them to say something for real, and then Gene Hackman's character just comes in talking all kinds of nonsense, and eventually they spill out some shit because they're like, this guy's fucking nuts. This guy's gonna kick my ass if I don't say something here. So that opening is so good. Right away you're like, okay, here I am, here's where we're at, this is what's going on. And it just kind of straps you in for a really wild ride.
Yeah, I love that their method of interrogation is so out of fucking blue, but it makes sense. If you committed a crime and one guy's like asking you, a legitimate question, and some other dude is screaming in your face about some nonsense that you don't know about, and if you say no, you're pretty sure you're going to get shot. You're going to start, spilling some stuff. I get it. Makes sense.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh man, I love it. Great pick. That's a absolute classic line from the 70s and one of the best from the movie for sure. My Tarantino, this is the first time I was really just laughing my ass off at this particular line. I remember it from every time I watched it, but this was the time when I was, for whatever reason, I was just like, oh my God, this is brilliant. It was one of those moments where it's so good that you're smiling. You're like, oh my God, I love this. I love movies. And it's when the chemist is testing the heroin. He's basically analyzing the drugs, and he says, blast off 180, 200, good housekeeping seal of approval, 210, U.S. government certified, 220, lunar trajectory, junk of the month club, sirloin steak, 230, grade A poison, absolute dynamite, 89% pure junk, best I've ever seen. If the rest is like this, you'll be dealing on this load for 2 years. That guy's such a fucking sleaze bag. I love 210, U.S. government certified. God, sirloin steak, so good. I love that little bit of dialogue is like, who the fuck wrote that? that is some Tarantino shit right there.
Yeah, that sounds like something Tuco Salamanca would say.
Oh my God.
Tight.
Yeah. I love Tuco. Oh man.
That's a great pick.
Some great stuff. And then you have Weinstock, that like fucking dirtbag lawyer who's like, so you tell me it's worth $500,000? And he's just keeps going. The chemist is just like, oh yeah. And then he gives him like a little bag to like take home. The chemist is like, oh boy, gonna go shoot up some fucking heroin because it's the 70s in New York. What else do you do? Oh God.
That's fantastic.
Crazy time.
Yeah. My Morricone, this has a very interesting score.
Don Ellis. Yeah.
Kind of a jazzy New York score. And I went with the music that's playing when they start tailing Sal Boca for the first time.
Oh.
It starts out kind of like like a little, almost like Halloween. And then it turns into this like kind of like Chinatown. It's Halloween and morphs into Chinatown. And I was like, I like this.
Yeah. Dark, but classy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so cool. Yeah. The jazz kind of input on this movie is perfect. Don Ellis, I think, does a wonderful job. No Oscar nomination, so we didn't get to bring him up earlier, but we get to bring him up now. His score is a big part of this film, a big part of those moments where they're tailing somebody and you're relying on their movement and the music.
Yeah. And
it's just goes hand in hand. Really cool. I love that bit. I know exactly what you're talking about. My Morricone actually goes to a part of the soundtrack though. I love the score with all my heart, but there's a particular song that happens with the scene. Like those two in hand it's just magic. And it's when the 3 Degrees are playing, everybody gets to go to the moon at that club towards the beginning of the film. And that's when Popeye really gets his hunch. Like, okay, something's going on here and I'm going to fucking figure it out. And it's madness in that club. It's like complete madness. This song is crazy. It's really good. It's awesome. And I've been listening to it all day. But I love how it's paired with that really, really important dialogue between Popeye and Cloudy. And Cloudy's just looking at him like, I thought you came here to buy me a drink. You fucker. Like, you only wanted to come here to do your own goddamn work, you bastard. Like, can't we just relax for like 2 seconds? And Popeye's like, nope, we can't. I don't know what relax means. Yeah. I love that so much. It's I have a playlist on Spotify where I try to add a song from the Oscar Sunday, movies that we do. I try not only like some of the movies I pick like a piece of the score, but a lot of the time I try to pick like a soundtrack, like a needle drop.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a perfect needle drop. Great choice. Whoever made that decision, spot on.
I also keep an Oscar Sunday playlist of exactly that. I wonder if we have the same stuff.
We definitely have to compare. I have some work to do. I'm a little bit behind on it right now, but I need to kind of adjust it and realign them because I want them to be in order of the episodes. And I've gone a little bit out of order, so I have to do some deleting and adding again. So
yeah,
I will perfect it though one day.
I've got that, and I've got the Filmgazm playlist, which is getting a little big.
Yeah, it's almost 12 hours now.
Yeah, my God. PSH.
Here we go.
I want to say I think I know where you're going, but honestly, it's a coin flip. I went Hackman.
Me too.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I love everybody in this movie. I think all the performances are like wonderful, but without him, I don't know what you really have. I really don't. I think everybody matters. All these individuals matter. I think the cinematographer, director, but if you don't have the starring performance from Gene Hackman, what do you really have? Without his tone, the way he talks, how abrupt he is, the way he looks, the way he wears the hat, the way he runs, he's kind of always tired. He's like, oh fuck, I believe every little thing he does in this movie.
Yeah, he's not, super cop. He's not Dirty Harry, taking out the scum. He's just some bloated NYPD narcotics cop who stumbled onto a huge bust and wants his piece of it. That's really all it is. He's no hero. He's just, an asshole cop who got lucky, really.
Yeah. I love at the beginning of the movie. I had texted you this when I first started watching it last night when him and Roy Schreider are arguing over what happened because Roy Schreider, Cloudy gets cut at the beginning of the movie. And he's like, just kind of fucking with him, Gene Hackman, Popeye. And at one point, Roy Schreider fucking starts like acting like he's stroking it. And he's like, fucking trust this. And then Gene Hackman goes, whip it out.
Oh, I think he said, drink this.
Drink this. Yeah, that's right. Because they're about to go to the bar. You're right. You're about to go to the club. Yeah. He's like, come on, let's go down and get a drink. Come on. Drink this. And just fucking. Of course he goes with him. Cloudy goes with Popeye, his fucking partner, and then shit goes sideways from there for sure. Whip it out. I love that so much. Hackman.
I love that a film like that represents the future of Hollywood goes up against a film like Fiddler on the Roof and NICHOLAS and Alexandra, which represents, the past of Hollywood. And it's just neat to see, the future and the past kind of coexist at the same time like that. And there's in the middle of the transitional period, you get like a mixture of films like this. I think that's fascinating.
Yeah, it's definitely why, if you take into account, the little over 100 years of movies really existing and really being a part of culture, this is the midway point. The 70s are the golden era to me for American cinema because it is that halfway of, okay, let's experiment. Let's start fucking with shit. Let's start doing stuff. And now you see a lot of movies now. When you watch 60s and 70s movies and some 80s, you see now, holy shit, these people making movies now were really watching movies then, and really care about those decades and are paying homage constantly. Yeah. And I love that so much. I love diving into this decade. It's always a treat to look at stuff in context like this Best Picture Showdown that we're doing. So it's really cool.
Reminds me of a great Frank Reynolds quote. I don't know how many years I've got left on this earth. I'm going to get real weird with it.
Yeah. Well, what does he say that one episode where he's like, what if we're all in a turtle's dream? Yeah. Yes, Frank. Yes. So
Beautiful.
perfect.
Oh boy. So here we are.
Roger Deakins.
The Deakins.
The Deakins. There's only one Deakins in this movie for me.
Mine we've already kind of talked about, and it's when Popeye is chasing the French guy on foot on the subway, and they keep having that back and forth, getting on, getting off the train. And just the moment where he goes up to the custard guy and is like, can I get a grape drink? I love the vagueness of that. Like just a bottle labeled grape drink. Like, what the fuck are you? And he walks away with a candied apple.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on over there? But the moment is when they're both on the train. And like you said, with the cinematography, the cane coming through the door and Popeye getting trapped on the other side. And the French guy just giving him that little French wave. He knew he was there the whole time, just shaking him. And then that's reciprocated at the end when Popeye finally traps the guy and gives him the same little hi. It's perfect. It's a great callback.
Hey, it's genius. It's genius. And then my Deakins goes right off of that. It's right after that. It's the chase between the car chase / train chase, which is ugh. I don't really even know what to say about it because it's so damn good. It's Pierre Nicoli running away from Popeye, and Popeye's in the car. Well, he says, I mean, really right there is when they're like, okay, dude, you're done. Like you've been traced, you've been uncovered. Like this guy knows you're his tail. You need to stop. But then he's like, well, I got shot at. This guy was trying to snipe me out. So I'm going to go after him. He goes up to the top of the fucking, building, sees the shotgun, sees the shells. And then, which is also, I'm pretty sure that's a shotgun, which is pretty impressive that he was doing that from that distance. Nicoli, that he's just fucking, he kills a lady. He just kills a lady he's ruthless. That character is absolutely ruthless. At the very beginning, we see him just kill another detective over in Marseille. He's clearly the, main henchman. And watching him, run away, and then fucking Gene Hackman goes right back down the stairs and now is chasing him on foot. And then he realizes, he gets on this train and he can't quite catch him. So he's like, oh, fuck, you got to stop this train. And then he's like, I have to keep following that train. I can't do it on foot. So, and I'm not on the train with him. So I got to find a car. And he just halts people. He just gets people to stop. And then finally he's like, police, this is an emergency. When am I going to get my car back? He doesn't even answer him. He just drives off. And then that scene is where you have real stunt work going on. And that car really got fucked up a bunch, and like really got destroyed. And it's so, so awesome because he gets out of the car and back into the car and finally is like, I got his ass cornered. The subway has come to an emergency break. He shot someone inside the subway, one of like the security guards. And then he is going down, and Nicoli's kind of messed up because he hit his head on the glass and he's walking down. And then he gets to the stairs and fucking Popeye's right there with his gun. Like, what's up, dude? I fucking got you. And Nicoli, right when he turns, and that's the fucking poster of the movie, is Nicoli, facing the other way, getting shot in the back. And then he falls down the stairs, hits Popeye's leg, and Popeye's like, fuck yeah. I got his ass after like messing up so many people's day by hitting their car, making shit just go crazy, getting in, blowing through newspaper stands, just ruining a shit ton of stuff in New York. He finally got him. And like his determination in that scene is something to behold. And that's where a lot of the Owen Roizman handheld stuff comes into play, where he's in the car with Gene Hackman right over his shoulder as he's fucking honking and speeding around. It's a brilliant 10 or 15 minutes of movie. And then right before that is when you have your Deakins. It's like, that's like in the same 30 minutes. It's like, oh my God, I can't handle this. The adrenaline is through the roof. And that's where I think it got its title of out and out thriller. It's just edge of your seat kind of stuff. And people still want to make movies that intense. They still want to try to capture that same thrilling aspect. And you gotta love that stuff. It's so cool. I think a lot of the dialogue between Schreider and Hackman is incredible, but that particular action sequence has always been my favorite. The first time I saw it, I couldn't believe my eyes. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to own this movie. I'm going to watch this over and over. And I'm hoping some of my friends get around to it as well, because I think that scene, like that 30 minutes, that alone is worth your time. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's pretty badass. I remember a poll, like a top 10 video I watched somewhere, where that was voted the greatest movie car chase of all time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any arguments with that.
Yeah, it's pretty bitchin', considering, what they had to work with in 1971. Well done.
Yes. Very practical what's happening there.
I mean, that's not a soundstage, right? That's New York City.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Yeah. Friedkin doesn't really fuck around when he's he's trying to, you don't have that New York authenticity and the New York element as its own character without filming there and making the movie there. So
yeah,
really cool.
I'm surprised he didn't summon the devil himself to co-star in The Exorcist. Like, this dude really wants the best he can get.
Mm-hmm.
And well done with the French Connection. 8 for me. Solid, enjoyable, good enough.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I give French Connection a 10, Last Picture Show a 9, Clockwork a 10, Fiddler on the Roof an 8, and Nicholas and Alexandra 6 or 7. Give whatever, doesn't matter.
That one's a 6. The rest are all 8s for me.
I like it a lot. I think Last Picture Show could rise for both of us after a couple more watches. It's just, Jesus Christ, we're going to notice little character development type stuff that we didn't see before and catch more tricks from Peter Bogdanovich. Yeah. And then after watching more, I've heard Paper Moon is just outstanding. Watching more Bogdanovich films, I think we'll have a greater appreciation for Picture Show.
Well, I adore Madeline Kahn. And for that reason alone, I've been wanting to see Paper Moon for quite some time.
There you go.
Yeah. Wonderful. So Showdown is done. What do we got coming next week?
Another Showdown in the books. We won't have another one of those till episode 75. Next week, episode 71, I will be absent. This is the first time I will not appear on Oscar Sunday, and it's slowly destroying me inside. I'm just kidding. You will be joined by Caleb to do 2012 Skyfall. James motherfucking Bond. No Time to Die comes out next weekend. We're definitely going to be talking about that on Sneak Preview. There's no doubt about it. So we have a whole fucking, James Bond, Daniel Craig week. We got Casino Royale on Wednesday's Filmgazm, which is you and I are going to do that together. Yeah. Skyfall, you and Caleb, and then No Time to Die Sneak Preview. I imagine you and Caleb. So I just super, super excited to kind of shout out this stage of James Bond, this stage of Daniel Craig's career. And Skyfall, what a masterpiece. Casino Royale is my favorite, but I think Skyfall is my second favorite of the Daniel Craig James Bond films. I'm hoping No Time to Die shatters all of them. That would be great. But I can't wait to be on Filmgazm and kind of switch things around. The reason we're doing that is because I'll be out of town from Thursday to Sunday next week. So I just won't be able to record Oscar Sunday in time. And that's okay with me because I know it's in good hands.
That means a lot. This is this will be my first time leading an Oscar Sunday, and I know I've done like 150 fucking Filmgasms and like 40 something sneak previews. Not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous. Feels good to be nervous.
Hell yeah, it'll be fun, man. I think it'll be really cool. There's not, it won 2 Oscars for sound editing and original song. Of course, Skyfall by Adele. It was nominated for cinematography, original score, and sound mixing. So you got those to talk about, but I expect more James Bond talk, and I expect more, Daniel Craig, just what he means to this franchise, how important he is, and what a great choice they made back for Casino Royale in 2006, because he's He's up there. He's up there with the best to ever do it.
Yeah, in some circles, he is the best.
I think it's the best Bond movie I've seen is Casino Royale for me. It's just so goddamn good. I can't wait to talk about it on Filmgazm. Holy shit.
I'll save my thoughts because Wednesday, is going to be fucking amazing. I'm at Casino Royale. We've been planning that one like to coincide with No Time to Die. So we've been waiting for this for a long time now, and we're finally getting it. And I have nothing but extremely high hopes. So
yeah.
But Oscar Sunday, big shoes to fill, and I hope I can do you justice.
Oh, you will, man. I have no reservations or anything about you kind of running that one. I think Caleb will have a lot of fun too, picking awards out for Skyfall. What a cool movie to pick awards for.
Yeah, and it's actually been a minute since I sat down and actually watched Skyfall all the way through. And I've been planning on doing a Craig rewatch for No Time to Die. And I watched Casino Royale last week. I'm going to fucking watch it again because it's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
I watched Quantum of Solace and fell asleep. And now I'm going to do Skyfall and Spectre this weekend and just enjoy myself.
Yeah, fantastic. Skyfall is the only film I saw while I was in Romania that I saw in theaters, because a lot of the movies, they were like, I didn't trust this theater. It fucked up the subtitles sometimes, but this movie, they had it straight up in English. And I was like, fuck yeah, let's do this. I got to go see this movie. And I was just blown away. I was like, this movie fucking kicks ass. It's way better than Quantum of Solace. They're back on track. Let's go.
I remember I took a date to see Skyfall, and then I didn't make a move. And I was like, fuck, I should have made a move.
You're too busy watching the movie.
Yeah, I'll talk more about that next week because it's just
hell yeah.
Yeah, Caleb knows who it is. So we save it.
Yeah. I love that.
Oh, yeah. So that'll be fun. Obviously, Casino Royale on Filmgazm. And then, of course, this week on, tomorrow on Sneak Preview, Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and The Many Saints of Newark. Going to be fun.
Beautiful.
Awesome. This was a blast. Can't wait for the next showdown, especially since we know what it's going to be. And woohoo.
Yeah. Giddy up, cowboy.
Fuck yeah. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next week.